Ray says that these are two separate cases. The convictions are very different. But the fact of the matter is that, the intensity and the gravity of the convictions might be different. But Hunter Biden is the current U.S. president's son. And when that happens in an election year, I'm sure it's going to have some sort of impact on Joe Biden's, potential and race ahead to the White House. Already coupled with the fact, of course, that there are considerations about his age, the concerns about his age that keep playing out now and then.
Having been here in the United States and covered U.S. politics for a long time, I would tend to agree with Ray because, one, there's a fundamental difference. This is not a conviction against a candidate. It's not about Joe Biden himself. And Hunter Biden's past record has been a well-known thing, has obviously plagued and impacted the Biden family. But I don't see this conviction having a similar impact as Donald Trump's conviction either ways, because obviously he's the candidate. There are far more serious charges. Having said that, certainly, and Joe Biden has made it very clear that he's not going to pardon his son should, a sentence be awarded. So there are two fundamental differences. But yes, in election season, as I said, both sides will try to rally voters around this. But when it comes to, I think the American voter is very discerning when it comes to actually selling this point of equating both the convictions. I don't see a parallel emerging here, and I don't see the voters getting swayed on this point. There will be other bigger issues which are at stake both for the Democrats and Republicans, and that will play out in a much bigger manner than this particular conviction. Shreya?
Sure. I'm going to come to those issues later, Saurabh, but let me ask you, Ray Locker, Saurabh mentioned a very interesting thing, that of Joe Biden saying that, should his son be convicted, he will not pardon him because he has the power as the president to do so. But he's also time and again said that at the end of the day, he's a father. Do you see that happening? Of course, we don't have the quantum of sentence still being pronounced by the court. But if that happens, do you see the U.S. president actually, stepping up and playing the role of the president first and the father later?
Well, I don't think he's going to pardon Hunter. I guess possibly if he loses his reelection campaign in November, he might pardon him on his last minute in office. A lot of times that does happen. It remains to be seen. I don't think that what he was convicted of will deserve jail time. So, he'll probably get fined or some other kind of sentence. Again, not something that he needs a pardon for. Whereas Donald Trump has pardoned a whole rogues gallery of people associated with him, with his campaigns, corrupt former congressmen. And so there's really no comparison between what Joe Biden says he's going to do or not going to do in this case and what Donald Trump already did while he was president.
Saurabh, in terms of popularity, in terms of the opinion polls, which of the candidates are actually weighing in more? Who has more impact on ground between Donald Trump and Joe Biden? Donald Trump, after his conviction, of course, it's like a bifurcated opinion. Some say that it's going to make his supporters support him more, while some say that it's going to go completely against him.
Well, Shreya, I would say that it's a divided house. Even though Donald Trump may have a lead in some of the polls, and clearly so his own Republican voters will be rallying for him. Even there in the Republican parties, there is a sense of dissatisfaction. Paul Ryan, a former speaker, spoke out openly recently. His own vice president has gone against him. So he's had some challenges. For Joe Biden, certainly, be it the Middle East issue or the immigration issue, has been plaguing him. But I would say, having covered a lot of U.S. elections, is still a long way to go. November is a lot of things can change. But for now, I would say it's going to be an interesting election. It remains to be seen who manages to sway voters on election day and just months ahead of it. You will also see their performance in the debates, which are going to happen. Obviously, the convention is something which is going to formally endorse both the candidates. So I think I would really not hedge any guess at this stage? This has happened in India as well. Exit polls have gone wrong. And I would say that in some ways, it's an evenly poised race and the voters will decide. But yes, it's going to be a tough election if you ask me.
Ray, let me also get in, what issues the citizens want to be addressed in this election. Illegal immigration is perhaps one of the top concerns of Americans. What other concerns do they have this year when they, go out and vote? Whom are they looking for to actually sort of solve or resolve their problems?
Well, I think obviously inflation is still a major concern, although we had a very promising report today that shows it's ticking downward. The continued health of the economy, climate change, the fate of American democracy, abortion, all of those are major issues. Right now, you see Donald Trump favored on the economy, which is hard to understand since the economy basically is doing as well as in any part of the developed world under Joe Biden. But, as Saurabh said, these things, things change at a moment's notice in elections. It's only June. I mean, I remember in July 1988, when Vice President George Bush was 17 points behind in a Gallup poll to Democrat Mike Dukakis. And at that moment, we all thought, okay, he's done. And he won by 10 percentage points. So a lot happens during a campaign. And sometimes voters break one way or the other, almost in unison at the last minute. We saw that in 1980 in the race between Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan. People thought Reagan was too old. He was 69, which seems kind of quaint right now. I think both candidates would love to be 69 years old right now. And in the last week, the whole race shifted toward Reagan and he won. So we could see that again this year. It's just really hard to tell. It's really early.